Salute, comrades. You're now tapped into Behind the Walls Talk. I'm your host and founder, William Thomas McCallum Jr., the voice from within and soldier for the silenced. This isn't just a podcast. This is a platform, a battleground for truth, a microphone for the voiceless. We're here to amplify the stories of the incarcerated, the men and women whose voices have been buried beneath steel, stigma, and silence. Here, nothing is sugar-coated. The truths aren't ignored, erased, or rewritten. They're raw, unfiltered, and unapologetically real. Whether they're doing time for past mistakes or enduring the weight of injustice, their stories matter, and they will be heard. This is about more than exposure. It's about awakening. We exist to spark dialogue, ignite reform, and demand liberation. We're not begging for sympathy. We're building a movement. So stay tapped in, stay locked in. This is Behind the Walls Talk. Welcome to the revolution. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Today is about your voice, your truth, and your journey. Before, during, and after incarceration. Your story holds power, and your perspective matters. Let's begin. Can you tell us your name, age, and where you're from?
Yes, my name is Dellery Moore. I'm from Robertson County, little town in North Carolina, Wilmington, age 41.
How much time did you serve, and what were you incarcerated for?
Well, altogether I did around 16 years, 10 months. I was incarcerated for armed robbery and kidnapping charges.
What helped you mentally and emotionally get through your time inside?
Well, mostly what helped was support. You know, having that support and that family there to motivate you, to give you something to look forward to. Besides just coming home, there was a lot of support. There was a lot of help. Because sometimes you need something to look forward to more than just coming home.
That's right. That's right. When were you released, and how did that moment feel?
Oh, man. I was released 2019, December the 6th. December the 6th, about 12 o'clock, 12:03.
All the way down to the minute, huh?
Oh, it's down to the minute.
So how did that moment feel?
Man, it was, honestly, it was kind of scary, you know. When you do that much time somewhere, that's just like anywhere. You stay somewhere for so long, and now you just up and moving out, you know, and you just moving somewhere else with nothing, you know. It was kind of scary, you know. It was scary. I was excited. I was lost. It was just so many emotions at that time. It's just hard to even zone in on one. And there's so much commotion because you got all these people out here waiting to see you, and you got all the emotion going on inside, and you don't even know how to act. It was a good moment, but, you know.
Yeah.
It was a good moment.
While incarcerated, did you ever participate in any programs like educational, vocational, faith-based?
Yes. When I was incarcerated, I made sure I educated myself. But, you know, with the system now, it's not really too much education you can get in there. You know, you just take these classes, these self-help classes, make it look good on your record. But as far as something that's really going to help you and elevate you when you come out here in the streets, they really don't have that. You know, the certificates we get in there, yes, they're good. They make it look good, but when we come out here, the certificate's not. It it's not no. Yes, you know what I'm saying. You don't have no position. You just have a certificate. You know, you don't have no trade. So them classes was good. They kept me occupied, stayed out the way. But they're really not holding no merit once you come out here in the streets. They need to give us back our degrees, you know what I'm saying, how we could get trades. But they don't have that anymore. That's what we need.
Did you participate in anything faith-based? If so, how did that impact your mindset or plans for the future?
Well, as far as the faith-wise, that changed everything for me. Once I started tapping into that and I found Islam, that changed my whole entire life, you know. It made me start figuring out what is next, not just what is now, you know. So it helped me become a man and prepare myself because you got a blueprint. And as long as you stay in that blueprint, no matter if you deviate off that blueprint, you still got that blueprint to go to help you, you know, rebuild that foundation.
Okay.
Yes. This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
And I'm not saying this for everyone, but once I found God and implemented Him in my life, you know, everything just got better. Everything.
Nice. So, was there a turning point moment during your incarceration that shifted how you viewed your life or your future?
Yes, yes, it was. Yes, exactly. I was in green clothes, you know. Just got promoted to green clothes, you know, doing good. And one incident happened where I reacted the wrong way, and it cost me 5 years in the hole, you know, and more time on top of what I had. But sitting in that hole for them 5 years helped me look at a whole lot of things. You know, 5 years in the hole, 23 hours in one. That's a lot of time to think and read. A lot of time. So during that time, I educated myself and started looking for the prison system to help me. You know what I'm saying? We gotta help ourselves. You know, everybody going there, they ain't doing nothing to rehabilitate us, but we gotta learn how to do that ourselves. Because it's a business for them. But they ain't trying to help us too much. You know, the program's good. You know, it's good to get them in there, but they got to start with us. We're going to have to want it first. When I was sitting in the hole, that's when I realized that.
How was your reentry experience? Did the system provide any meaningful support during your transition back into society?
It was rough because it was like they were sending me here, they were sending me there, and then I would get these bonds and I would get these vouchers for these jobs, but when I take the bonds and vouchers for the jobs, the jobs weren't accepting them. And it was hard for me to, you know, to get any help, to get any assistance. It was just so much runaround where it's like they knew they had to help me, but they weren't putting no effort for it. So it was kind of rough getting any help from the system, but I had my family. And so they were my reentry program. So I really didn't have one when I came home because it was just, I got extradited back to South Carolina. So I had, instead of going to North Carolina, I had to move to South Carolina. South Carolina there was no help. There was no help. With no reentry programs, and I still don't see any.
So what was the very first thing you did for yourself once you were free?
The very first thing I did for myself, as far as getting myself something or just doing something, period, just for myself.
Yeah, doing something for yourself.
I went and bought my first vehicle.
Okay.
Okay. A Buick.
How did that feel?
It felt good. It felt good, but it also showed me that I didn't know a lot. You know, it showed me that I didn't know a lot because I was thinking I was so smart and knew this and knew that. But when you get out here in this world, things operate a whole lot different. You know, the system is different. How you go about buying things is different. Like, it's just a whole lot of stuff that you have to know and understand, but you don't really have no one to sit down and explain this stuff to you. Like these points right here. So now you got someone to take care of your business for you because you don't know nothing about the system. And there's not no one out here to teach it to you. So you got to learn as you go. So you're making errors, you're losing money, and it's just like, you know, it's just more.
Yeah.
It calls you to do more. It gets frustrating to the point where it's not, okay, this is too frustrating, but I know how to do this. And I did that myself. I deviated and went back to doing what I knew that I could do that could make me some money without having to deal with those folks.
Yeah. Based on your experience, what do you think are the biggest issues within the prison system that need to be addressed?
The healthcare. The healthcare and the diet, the food, you know, those are the issues I feel like that need to be addressed. Because there's a lot of death and the stuff that they feeding the guys in there is just not healthy. It's just not healthy. No.
So if you had the chance to speak directly.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Hey, excuse me. Let me call back. Behind the Bars Talk will continue. Behind the Bars Talk continue with Mr. Dellery Moore. Mr. Moore, if you had the chance to speak directly to lawmakers or those in power, what would you say needs to change within the justice system?
As far as the justice system, the sentencing for young black men, you know, it's totally, if you look at the sentences for the younger white man and our younger black man, it's almost a landslide. And the sentences is not matching up. And they're setting it up to where they pardoning all the older guys and they're replacing them with our young brothers with these outrageous sentences. It's just, if I could talk to them, I would say the sentencing need to change. You know, the bias in it.
That's right.
It's just ridiculous.
That's right.
And they're throwing a book at.
Yeah, they're definitely throwing the book at these brothers, man, especially with Boss Carter's sentencing.
Yes.
And giving them life sentences for crimes that really they should probably have manslaughter charges or just.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
And I'm not trying to turn this to a race issue, but a white guy just got made bond for a murder charge, killed a young black man, and still get a $200,000 bond. Like it just. It's no law. There's no law coming to nobody but minorities, and it seems like the law only applies to minorities.
Yeah, it's clear to see that there are a lot of racial disparities when it comes to the justice system, and it's clear to see it's always been like that, you know, and it's still like that to this day. So I definitely understand what you're speaking about.
Yeah.
Are you currently employed? If so, what kind of work are you doing?
Well, I was currently employed, but I started a box truck company called More Reliable Transport, MRT, you know. So right now I'm running my box truck company. But
More Reliable Transport. That's all right.
Yes, you know. I've been home, I've been doing the same work for about 5 years and noticed that, you know, the same thing I'm making for this company a week. If I can apply just a little bit more to myself, I can make probably the same or a little bit more and be my own boss.
That's right.
So I just jumped out there and gave it a chance.
So what personal goals and life objectives are you focusing on today?
Right now, I'm focusing on generation wealth. You know, that's my focus. Make sure I can leave something behind.
That's right.
Where the generation that coming behind me ain't gonna have to work so hard or ain't gonna have to try to figure it out, you know. That's the difference when it comes to them, you know.
Or have something established where they can already build off of.
Yes. Have them a platform built already.
That's right.
So they can build. You know, sometimes that's all our kids need instead of having to struggle and work for. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let's change that narrative up. You know what I'm saying? Work for everything you got. No, well, you got to work for it if I already worked for it and got it. You know?
So let me ask you this. How can communities better support people coming home from incarceration?
Oh, man. How they can support them. They got all these houses. They got homes. They got these Section 8 apartments that, you know, that people just run through. Put these guys in these homes. You know what I'm saying? Put them in there on a plan, a 6-month plan where they have to keep a job, you know what I'm saying, subject to, you know what I'm saying, urinalysis tests, you know. Give these guys places. Set them up with gas cars or a car that they got to pay for. You know what I'm saying? Have them a program where that they can transition into society without having problems transitioning into society. You know what I'm saying? Give them, just like I said about the spiritual aspect of having that blueprint, give them a blueprint to come to when they get out here. You know? Sometimes that's all we need because naturally we already institutionalized. So you just taking us out of one institution and putting us in another one. But you go ahead and give us that blueprint, and we can go ahead and start applying it to our everyday lives. In 6 months into a year, we be acclimated with the way of the world. You know what I'm saying? Or you need credit for this, or how to go about paying for this, or owning this, and taxes, and you know, you would have this knowledge of these things out here that help you succeed. That's how the community can help instead of, you know, just sending guys home. Okay, let's set them up before they go home with a package deal, you know, with a home plan.
Okay. What advice would you give to those that are still incarcerated, especially in terms of what to expect and how to prepare for life after release?
Humble yourself. Because your expectation is going to be high, but you're going to have to deal with a lot of stuff that you don't like. A lot of stuff that's not going to be right. You know, but in order to continue on, you're going to have to humble yourself. Yeah. You got to humble yourself. It's sad to say, but I'm not saying to be lesser of a man than who you are, but don't fight every battle that comes across you.
Okay.
So when you come out here, humble yourself and just continue to educate yourself on life, finances, property, taxes. Understand that
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
it's a new language. You have to educate yourself on it. Because if not, you just be running around in circles trying to get it together.
Okay. What does freedom mean to you now, after all you've been through?
Peace. You know what I'm saying? Peace. I can get up, go sit on the porch. I don't got to tie my shoes up. I don't got to keep looking nowhere. I can just sit down. Don't worry about nothing. Just sit down without no worries. That's freedom. And for me, just having a peace of mind.
Yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from, especially after being incarcerated and going through the situations we've been through in here.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand exactly what you're speaking about.
So just having a little peace of mind and a little quietness. Hey, I don't get no more freedom than that.
So,
but it's still with you, though. Go ahead.
So what was your family's reaction when you came home?
They were shocked. Some didn't know what to expect. Some treated me the same. Some treated me like a little boy. It was just everybody, they don't know. They don't know who you are. So all they do is go off what they knew. So it's kind of, it was a little aggravating, but you just gotta understand that it's love. You gotta just have an understanding. Just understand yourself when you come home. Because if you don't understand yourself, you're gonna have so many altercations with people that love you.
Yeah.
Because the way we program and some of the stuff in there got us programmed, man. We don't like to admit it, but we institutionalize it, we program, we react to certain stuff a certain way. Certain tones, certain way you say stuff,
Yeah.
We just reacting like that. So when you come out here, you just gotta just know yourself and know that everything that somebody says is not attacked at you, even though it may sound like that, it's not. Because we're always on the defense inside them walls, 24/7. It's you're on defense. So when you come out here, you gotta remember that. Humble yourself and know yourself. Because if not, you're gonna always be on occasion.
Hey, DJ, I'm gonna tell you something, boy. You just gave me an eye opener to this song, man. Cause you just gave me an eye opener to this song, man. And I appreciate that too.
That's what we're here for. Still soft and still.
Yeah. What message would you share with young people who may be heading down the wrong path?
The message I have with young people headed down the wrong path. The graveyards and the prisons are all going to have vacancies. And it's sad that we will put our mamas and fathers through that. Like, we don't understand the strain of losing a child to the system while we doing what we doing. So, what I would say to them, think about the ones that love you the most. before you get out there trying to prove yourself to someone who have no love for you.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this right here. Bro. You know, you have some kids that come up that don't have no mother or no father, that don't have anybody.
Yes.
If they have somebody, they probably have a counselor at the foster home, or they're living in the streets. You know what I'm saying? So you have a lot of people, you have a lot of these young kids, man, that are in bad predicaments, bad situations, and the circumstances is really terrible. So for that child that's like that, what would you say to that child?
For that child like that, because I could never experience something like that, and the only thing that I could say personally that would help that child is finding that spiritual side of themselves. Because there's nothing else that is going to help you. You know, we only can do so much. We only can take so much. A lot of people
You have
don't.
60 seconds remaining.
But, you know, I tell them to find that spiritual side, the extra help.
Okay.
Hey,
let me call back. And Behind the Walls Talk will continue. Behind the Walls Talk continue with Mr. Dellery Moore. Mr. Moore, how have your relationships with friends or the community changed since you've been home?
Man, well, I really don't have too many friends no more.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
I don't hang out like that with guys. You know, I probably hang around one or two guys, but mostly I hang with the family, my sisters. As far as the community-wise, we like to go around. Me and my wife, we like to go around to the new owned businesses for the minorities and support the minority businesses. We do mostly stuff like that. Go around, post them. As far as community-wise, that's as much as we do with community around here.
Okay. Let me ask you this question right here. What role has forgiveness, whether of yourself or others, played in your journey?
Well, actually, the forgiveness had to start with myself. You know, I had to forgive myself for a whole lot of the stuff I did to people and to myself. So before any change had to come, I had to forgive myself and allow myself to become better. And that has to forgive myself. You know. As far as people forgiving me, it really got to a point where once I forgave myself, everyone else, it really didn't matter.
That's right. That's right. Is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners? Any final words of wisdom or encouragement?
Well, all I want to say is set your goals, achieve them, and continue to grow. Don't never stop growing, no matter what it is, financially, mentally, spiritually. Continue to grow as a man, a female, no matter what. Just every day you get up, just try to be a little bit better. Just a little bit.
That's right. Hey, I appreciate you, my brother.
I appreciate you for having me. And I love you.
I want to thank you for your honesty, your strength, and your willingness to share your story. Your voice adds to a larger movement for justice, restoration, and change. You know, at Behind the Walls Talk, we believe that lived experiences are the most powerful form of testimony. And your journey is a reminder that redemption is real. Second chances matter. And no one should be defined solely by their past. We honor your growth, your resilience, and your return. Your story may be the spark that